control room is very exciting because, you know, you have this clock running in the background and of sort of countdown of how much time they have before something's going to go wrong. And just to have that there in the setup, it's all live. All this sort of equipment that's around us is all interactable. And then, you know, we were shooting something with a live feed with Jodie shooting from a helicopter, which they'd set up outside. So it was... This sense of immediacy makes it very exciting.
The lovely thing about this story, particularly with Danny as well, because I've had to do a lot of work with her, is it feels that there's so far to go with her, and they're all powerful, strong, witty and intelligent roles.
Her secret agenda, if there is one, is this relationship she has with John Porter, which is still a bit ambiguous. You know, he's introduced to her in an interesting way, in that she's posing as a nurse whilst he's being having his medical to be reactivated into the secret service.
How are you feeling this evening, Sergeant?
Absolutely bloody knackered, Sergeant.
Yeah, well, getting a body into shape in a matter of days. It's gonna hurt.
You're saying I'm not in shape?
No.
They call it a honey trap, you know, posing as a love interest to him in order to find out certain psychological things about him. But then as it goes, you know, they slightly fall for each other, and it's possibly an interesting relationship.
He's a good boy.
Oh, I'm a very good boy.
Well, then I think you probably deserve a bit of a treat, don't you?
We don't want to turn off the female audience. I mean, it's important that there are strong women and strong women roles. But I think the scripts reflect that, and I think hopefully there's a good balance.
Orla was one of the first characters to actually shoot anything on the show. You know, the first thing she did was one of her anchor feeds from Basra.
I think Richard actually said to me at the time that he thought, now I know where we are, now I know the country we're in, and yeah, it was a good thing to kick off with.
I remember seeing the tape of it, and it was delivered so truthfully that it was the first time that I'd sort of sat down and went, OK, I know what this show's going to be now, because up until that point I had no concept, and the truthfulness with which she played that first sequence reporting, Katie Dartmouth reporting from Basra, really kind of sort of locked something into my stomach.
An undercurrent of violence hides just beneath the surface. With the US full-out scheduled for the end of the year, many Iraqis I've spoken to are worried.
There's something about being a correspondent that strikes me as something very, very courageous. It is very courageous, especially in certain zones. Obviously, in a war zone like Iraq, you would have to have your wits about you. She's
been a significant part of Porter's evolution, really, because, again, it's something to do with the nurturing, and, you know, she's playing a reporter who is taken hostage.
A British TV journalist has just been abducted near Basra.
Shit. You know who this is, don't you?
Yeah, we're trying to establish if her kidnap is incidental or directly related to her father.
Any contact?
Not yet. All we know is that Katie was abducted 17 kilometres from Basra near a town called Al Harif.
My character is in charge of Section 20, which is a division of military intelligence that works very closely with special forces.
The Section 20 is sort of a clandestine group. We sort of sit between politicians and MOD. We sort of try to sort things out in the neutral zone.
Major Collinson heads up the unit.
Sir Patrick?
With Hugh's experience in the field and his specialist Arabic knowledge, he's uniquely placed to resolve this situation.
If you find Katie, what can you do?
Section 20 works closely with UK Special Forces. Once we have a location, we can start implementing a rescue.
The character who's kidnapped, played by Orla Brady, realises something's happening when she's about to be sort of kidnapped, so she takes a photograph of the character coming towards her, and takes the image and texts it back to England.
Although it's ostensibly an action story, what is at its heart, and what I thought was a beautiful premise, is a man who has, you know, he's into his life. He's you know, he's not some youngster at the beginning of his life. He's in his life. He's made a terrible mistake.
He was in British intelligence authorities have confirmed that this is likely to be the face of one of her abductors, disguised in an Iraqi police uniform.
British security forces believe this photograph taken on Miss Dartmouth's mobile phone.
He wants the chance to go back. It's eating away at his soul, and he's living and waiting for the day when he can do that. And then he gets a chance. He's watching for it, he's waiting for it, and he gets that chance.
It's been very interesting watching Richard go through this process, and he's had a huge amount of training on this, and he's spent in very intensive time, and he's a very hard-working actor.
It's okay. It's only me. It's John. We're gonna get through this. You and me. You know that, don't you?
She's taken hostage and is in a seriously sort of damaged condition when he finds her, and again having that thread through that thread of compassion in him to be able to deal with her in that state has been very interesting.
The scenes between Orla and Richard in a prison cell in a terrorist safe house are some of the most powerful things we could film.
Just gonna loosen these ropes. Make me more comfortable. Is that better?
Yeah.
How does that arm feel?
There are scenes in the cell where he comes to rescue Katie that are, they're almost like love scenes. There's an intimacy to them, you know. There's that bond that would form between somebody who is in grave danger and somebody who comes and says, I'm going to help you.
Now listen, they're gonna come for me first. That's our chance. I'll overpower them, and then I'll come back for you. Gonna get you home, Katie. I need to put this hood back on. I'm sorry.
I understand.
You're, on a precipice together, and so you telescope 20 years of knowing somebody into a few short hours, and you know them on a level that you'll possibly never know anybody else.
So long.
I think it's good to have a context which is real. So it just makes it more believable. I think more, and also in a sense more interesting. So it's good, strong entertainment, but with a reality.
It's a real roller coaster.
There are explosions and helicopters.
It's ambitious.
And really exciting.